Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right. And naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about anything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys. Tito's is known for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits to serve its communities and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's. Distilled and bottled by 5th Generation Inc., Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume. Savor responsibly.
Hey, it's Stephen Rothberg with College Recruiter Job Search Site here at RecFest USA in Nashville, Tennessee. And we are going to be talking today with the folks from Happydance and recruiting brain food about some high volume hiring and some pizza. It's not quite time for lunch, but we're gonna learn a bit about that. Jim?
Hey, I'm Jim Taylor, Managing Director of Happydance from the UK, loving Nashville.
What's not to like about Nashville? I'm Jeanette Leeds, COO at College Recruiter, HR tech advisor to a bunch of companies, and excited to be here.
You have to keep the mic. Hey, I'm Hung, and nice to meet you. I write a newsletter called Recruiting Brain Food.
And I'm Brian Adams. I'm the CEO and founder of Happydance.
Okay, so we want to talk today about high volume hiring and Happydance, and like, what are you guys seeing when we think about like companies that have to hire a lot? Like what works? What are you seeing that's working, not working?
I think the main thing is making sure that your employer brand is showcased properly, because these days the technology exists to automate right the way through to offering a job, which means you get one shot at putting content on there to humanize your brand and to really let your audience know what the employee experience is like. So even at scale, it's really important that you've got human stories, you're given a really good preview of what the job is like, and you're trying to filter people in as much as you are filtering them out. And then when you do that, it means you can do it at scale with confidence and use technology to its full advantage right the way through to actually offering a job at scale with thousands of roles.
Yeah, well done, Brian. I couldn't agree more. There's one thing I would say is that if you're hiring for high volume, you want to have a very clear message as to who the job is for, and that should actually deter the people that it isn't for. So a good sort of a career site isn't just about getting more and more volume into the pipe. It's getting the right people, and that often means being very honest about the opportunity. You know, what is the hard stuff about the job? What is it? What do you need to do? What's the trade-offs involved? All of that, I think, is what the modern candidate expects.
I love that. Jim, we were talking earlier in the green room about one of your customers and what they're doing. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So we work with Domino's. They're hiring at any one time like 25,000 job recs. I mean, there's an interesting thought with Domino's in the fact that when you search for jobs in terms of like pizza makers in a specific location, originally when they first came to us, they were heavily dependent on ads, Google ads, trying to get brand visibility. Because with high volume, you've got jobs that don't live long enough. They go from the ATS, they come on the career site, and then they disappear because those jobs are filled. So from I guess from an SEO perspective, you're not getting any visibility. What they've been able to do is, well, two things really, is building persona landing pages for those types of roles, like pizza maker jobs as an example, where they had no visibility on Google, their competitors were beating them, and they were leaning heavily on paid ads. And then also thinking about the experience of the candidates, so if you're looking for a pizza maker job in a specific location, where's the nearest franchisee where I can search via, using my longitude and latitude, using my browser to be able to zoom into a map and quickly go and find the job, backed up with things like day in the life employee stories as well, to see what it's like to really thrive within that organization, which it's get to hear and see the stories of people who are actually doing those jobs.
Hi, I'm Stacey Nordwall, host of Toot or Boot, the show that boots burnout culture and calls out corporate nonsense. Each week, I talk with bold leaders and good troublemakers who are rewriting the rules of work. We dig into what's broken, what's working, and how to build something better, with a mix of practical advice and humor. If you're ready for a healthier, more human workplace, This is your show.
So I've got a question, and if you can't spill the beans from Domino's, that's cool. Maybe another unnamed client, but I've heard over and over again anecdotally from employers that if they're hiring for like a managerial or executive role, that the candidate will first go to the career site, consume a lot of that content, watch videos, read stories, etc., and then maybe apply. But for high volume hourly, it's very much the opposite. Is it the right location? Is it the right job title? Is it the right wage? If so, I'll apply. When I hear back from the employer, then I'll go to the career site. Yeah. Is that anecdotally true? Is there data that actually supports that?
Yeah, so I think the data tells us exactly what's going on with the candidates there in terms of returning visits. So you can see that the candidates come to the job pages, they'll apply, and then if they do get that opportunity, they then come back to explore more. I think coming back to Domino's example again, their jobs for the likes of pizza makers as an example, they're not really enriched with that sort of like the culture and the benefits type of content. It's like keep the job description clean because it's fast in terms of the response times of the page experience. When they actually came to us, Domino's originally, their web pages, the job pages were taking 25 seconds to load, from a load perspective, which is really bad for SEO and the candidates. In fact, if you're waiting, I actually said to them, I could probably eat pizza quicker than that. But their candidates were dropping and bouncing because it was a slow experience for them, which is completely different now. Which they do have different types of roles, like HR and more corporate roles where they do enrich those pages. So you've got to look at the data and then cater to the audience.
What you're doing is like super personalized depending on the type of roles, and is what I'm hearing, which is really interesting. Like, let's just like dive in a little bit more deeper into that, just because I think it's really interesting.
So the way we're building career sites now versus just a year ago, we're using conversational navigation, which means just like you go to ChatGPT and you might type in 14 to 16 words versus 5 or 6 words in Google, we're starting to get a really good idea of exactly what's on the mind of the candidate. So it's less about the academia of persona profiling and what we think the strategy is, and more a real-time reaction to what's actually on the mind of the candidate. So if they want to see what it's like in the local neighborhood before thinking about applying for a local job, then they will ask the career site and we'll save up that content and show them. And if that content doesn't exist, the data on the back end tells us, look, your audience are asking for these things and it's not on your site. So you need to go out and shoot that video, tell that story, make sure that content is available. So we're in a new generation of career site where it's not just a hyper-personalized experience, it's really smart in terms of learning in real time and giving the candidate audience exactly what they want. And that experience is very different for somebody who's looking for a corporate role versus somebody who's looking for a part-time 14-hour-a-week job just to contribute towards, their school fees or, whatever that is. It's the same site, completely different experience.
Hung, question for you. We're talking about like Domino's and some of the high volume, but one of the things I love about Recruiting Brain Food is that you bring in a lot of information globally. And are you seeing difference with career sites globally in terms of, it's a high volume position in the US versus Thailand, and do candidates in different areas of the world demand different kinds of experiences?
The answer is absolutely that's the case. And in fact, I'm about to launch a bit of research with a partner friend of mine who does a lot of recruiting, high volume recruiting in Thailand, Egypt, and I believe Indonesia. And we'll be bringing to bear some probably territories that we're not very familiar with here in the Western world, to describe exactly how sort of high volume recruitment works there. So there'll be some really interesting data to come. It is going to be a lot more conversational, so it might surprise a lot of people. But a lot of those territories, they'll be mobile first from before whenever. The phone is the decisive device that they use to access the internet. And so it inherently is more conversational, because if you think about a desktop and a website is designed for a desktop experience, it's generally designed for typing. and people interface with it in a slightly different bit of hardware. So we're going to see some very interesting information come out of that. So I don't know when that's going to be ready. Hopefully I'll get something by the end of the year, if not beginning of next, and we'll get some information to everybody.
This was amazing. So the future is now here at RecFest in Nashville. Thanks, everyone.